We have reception in the car park. This is good, this is good. Hey, Wi-Fi lifers, Amy here. Just wanted to do a quick video. Apologies if it's a bit echoey. It seems like a strange location to be shooting a Facebook Live from, but I wanted to share something in the moment that just happened. So just had an amazing 4-day weekend up on the Sunshine Coast here in Australia with some of my amazing, hey Holly Barris, amazing comrades, friends, family in the SFM community that I've met purely as a result of my journey online. So it's our second proper meetup that we've organised in the last few months. So we're making it a bit of a regular gig. And that aside, had an awesome few days, really, really relaxed, really energised. And what does that say? Chimera. Oh, you're in Cyprus. For those watching this on YouTube, this is a Facebook Live, so there are comments coming up as I'm shooting this. Realised the other day that I'm posting these videos and they might not make sense if you're watching a recording somewhere other than Facebook. Anyway, amazing weekend, super relaxed, feeling super grateful, really enjoyed ourselves. Incredible weather for winter. One of the big reasons I moved here. It was about 25 degrees all weekend, perfect blue sky. So yeah, pretty amazing for the depths of winter. Anyway, my point in shooting this video is just driving home with the awesome Helena and Grant Lamb. We carpooled up there and I picked up a brand new car on Thursday morning, just before we left, and drove off the forecourt, was loving it. I traded in my old car just to sort of keep it updated. And it's the first time I've actually, in a very long time, bought a brand new car. Don't really believe in doing that. So I picked it up Thursday morning and thought it'd be perfect to run it up the Sunshine Coast. It's about a 2.5 hour-ish drive. For anyone who saw my Instagram stories, we stopped in Brisbane on the way and test drove some Teslas, which was very exciting. So for someone like me who's not really a car person, it was a very car-related, exciting day. We then had 4 awesome days on the Sunshine Coast, feeling very relaxed and grateful. And driving back, we picked up Grant and Helena's dog about an hour and a half ago from the kennels where she'd spent the weekend and had a great time. And we pulled out of the kennels and started making our way back to the area of the Gold Coast that we all live. They live about 10 minutes away from me. And a small brown, I would say, sausage dog / corgi maybe, decided to run out in front of me. And I was probably going about 60, 70 k's an hour, well within the speed limit, and slammed the brakes on, not hard enough to release an airbag, not hard enough to create any skid marks on the road, which I checked afterwards, and was freaking out internally, but didn't swerve, just braked, looked over my left shoulder and saw the dog running away. And this is all in slow motion. Saw the dog running away and then heard a rather large bang and thought, have I actually hit the dog? And it was all a bit of a blur. But there was a big bang. And Helena was the first to jump out the back seat, run around the back of the car and sees this on the back of the car. Can we see this? So pretty gnarly chunk. So yeah, that's a big old dent, loads of scraping. The, I don't know what this is called, wheel arch, it's plastic. Bit of the bumper sort of attached to the bumper goes over the wheel, is completely separated. So yeah, a big old chunk of damage to what was my brand new Mitsubishi ASX, looking pretty chopped up. However, and I'm being completely honest, and I wanted to shoot this in the moment because I've just learnt so much in slow motion in the last hour and a half since it happened. So I genuinely felt quite relaxed. I'm going to come out of here because it's now quite echoey. Turn off the light. What I just went through my head is how relaxed I was because, interestingly enough, last year when I arrived here and bought a car, it wasn't brand new, but I'd picked it up and had it a few weeks. Not the same thing, but a similar thing happened on the motorway. Not my fault, but got smashed. Then had a courtesy car for about 3 weeks. And I was really shaken up when this happened last year. But as this happened, I don't know if it's because I had people with me and this time I wasn't on my own, I was surprisingly relaxed. Whether or not that was because it just wasn't my fault or just, I don't know, maybe just a more experienced driver now that I'm in, last year I was in an area that was new and maybe wasn't quite as confident driving. I'm just going to go out the gate because I'm right under people's balconies and could be irritating them with my chat. But I wanted to share because I think a lot of people, when something like this happens, could be pretty stressed and angry, and it's a massive inconvenience and all the rest of it. But got out of the car, I should finish the story so this makes sense and it's in context. But jumped out of the car, Helena jumped out, very, very helpful. She went and checked it out. The guy jumped out of his car who'd hit me and was effing and blinding and pretty angry, even though it was 100% his fault. And he was yelling, and we just the three of us just stood there and waited for him to finish yelling. And then we exchanged details. Well, we didn't exchange much because it turns out he's completely uninsured, doesn't even have a mobile phone, and the address on his driving licence is actually a caravan park. So not the best contender for making a claim from when he's at fault, but I'll make the phone call to my insurance company shortly and get them to deal with that. But I wanted to share where my head has gone in the last hour and a half. It was great to have people with me, amazing friends who totally calmed me down. But the biggest lesson was just, I've kind of got into a habit over the last couple of years when life has been predominantly pretty good, of just jumping straight to a place of it could have been so much worse, and gratitude and what is really the worst case scenario right here, right now. And even if I was at fault, my excess is $850. Yes, if it had been my fault, my insurance next year when I renew would probably be higher because I've claimed. And I genuinely was quite calm and was like, nah, what's the lesson here? And it really was just, life could be so much worse. This situation could be so much worse. I could have killed the dog. That would have shat on my weekend. And probably a whole family's weekend if I'd flattened their dog. The dog, incidentally, just ran off quite happily over there somewhere, over my shoulder. And I was like, thank God, that was the first thing that went through my head. And it's interesting in these moments of kind of semi-trauma / adrenaline. We actually had a conversation about it over the weekend around the dinner table one night. How in your brain you can blank out whole chunks of an incident. Or your brain does this for you. And it led to a whole nother conversation around how people then have their version of events. Everyone has their own version of events and can argue it until you're blue in the face. And to a degree, my family went through this last year with losing people and grief and trauma, and how you then end up with a load of people with a whole different set of events, because in those times, and this was one of them today, your brain genuinely blanks out chunks of what happened. So no amount of arguing about anything is actually going to help, because it's very difficult to get an accurate account of events. That's a whole different tangent I could go on. But my point of this video is just to share, where is your life right now that if this happened to you and you suddenly had a big chunk of money coming out your account to repair your car, whether it's your fault or not, how angry would you be? Because I think it's a real reflection of where the rest of my life is at, that I'm quite relaxed about this happening. So the message I wanted to share, which is totally relevant, is if this was you today, right now, today, if someone ran up the back of your car, smashed into you and caused thousands of dollars worth of damage straight after you'd picked up a brand new car, how angry do you think you'd be on a scale of 1 to 10? Because I genuinely think, were it not for the fact that the rest of my life is pretty sweet right now, in every area, I'd have been a lot more angry about what happened today, even though it wasn't my fault. I'd probably be more angry if it was my fault. But genuinely, I've got enough money, I'm pretty relaxed, I'm healthy, no one in my car that I care about was injured or hurt or upset. I know Helena was a little bit shaken up. She took on all this responsibility that it had anything to do with her, and it absolutely did not. I was so grateful that I actually had those two people with me, just for a bit of reassurance that, did everyone just see what happened? That's what happened. Okay, I'm not at fault. And really and truly, even if my insurance company don't want to play ball and cover it, my excess is $850. It might be a little bit more expensive next year because insurance companies generally are a bit arseholey when it comes to this. They'll do anything to not have responsibility, and I'm not quite sure how they're going to claim any money back from an uninsured man and his pregnant wife who live in a caravan or on a caravan park. But yeah, I just thought I'd jump on and share the lesson, because the biggest thing I want anyone to take away from this is that if you can rate right now, if that happened to you today, how angry would you be? And is it because of what's happened, or is it because the rest of your life is not where you want it to be? Have you got enough money? Are you happy? Are you relaxed? Are you grateful? Because if all of that's happening, there's not many things that can happen, even when the worst happens, which I can confidently say happened a couple of times last year. I lost people I care about. Being able to deal with it in a fairly relaxed fashion is testament to where the rest of my life is at. So I just wanted to jump in and share that whilst it was happening, because I'm a big advocate of sharing your shit and not just sharing the good stuff about a Wi-Fi life or an online business or a laptop lifestyle or my great life. It really is sharing. I like to share more about what I'm so grateful for about this business and what it's given me and where it's put my life at this point in time when shit goes wrong and when shit goes down, because whatever, it's money, but the money is there to cover it. It's a car, it's a hunk of metal. At the end of the day, I was safe, everyone else in the car was safe, including Grant and Helena's dog, who we'd just picked up. She was a legend, waiting for us to sort it out, being very patient. So yeah, I just thought I'd jump on and share that, because I think it's, the what ifs sometimes people don't take into account, and they just sort of keep plodding through a life they're not overly happy with, and then it takes a massive wake-up call to get you to take any action. So if you're watching this and thinking genuinely, if someone did that to my car today, it would piss me right off and my anger levels would be at a 10, look at why and go to work on the areas of your life that would mean that was a bigger inconvenience to you than it is to me. And that's not a brag, it's not a gloat, it's just a do something before it gets to that point message, which I'm a big advocate of. Do it before you need it. Yes, I think I'm done. The sun is going down, and I think I will go and pour myself a glass of red wine tonight just to chill whilst I unpack and compose myself for the week ahead, because we did discuss doing a 90-day period of no alcohol, but maybe I'll start that tomorrow. Hope that was of interest and of some value to your evening. I hope everyone's had a great weekend. For those of you not in Australia, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will speak to you in another video very, very soon. Take care.